Highly intelligent individuals often give off an indistinct sense of unease to others. They can appear remote and inaccessible, not due to coldness, but because they choose to engage selectively. They aren't antisocial, but rather deliberately solitary. This behavior is not arrogance or a sense of superiority. It's something deeper and psychologically complex. Carl Jung grasped this better than most, noting that intelligence, especially emotional and psychological intelligence, naturally draws a person toward detachment. This detachment is not rooted in fear or trauma, but is instead a deliberate protective measure to safeguard the clarity and strength of the mind. Have you ever felt the need to step back from people, not because of hurt or fear, but to protect your own mental clarity? Comment 1. If you've ever chosen solitude for the sake of your mind. Comment 2. If you usually push through and stay socially involved, even when it feels mentally draining. Intelligent people experience solitude differently from the majority. What some interpret as loneliness, they interpret as mental clarity. Where others dread abandonment, they discover liberation. This is not due to emotional shortcomings, but rather because they have realized something many never will. Their most valuable insights, profound personal growth, and truest self arise not in the noise of constant interaction, but in the intentional quiet of self-chosen solitude. Jung referred to this as individuation, the process of becoming your authentic self, independent of the projections, expectations, and emotional pressures imposed by others. This concept holds particular significance for intelligent individuals. The more perceptive a person becomes, the more they recognize that much of social interaction is mere performance projection and unconscious attempts to meet emotional needs rather than true connection. This awareness forces a choice: either persist in playing social games that feel increasingly empty, or withdraw to create the mental space needed for genuine growth. While most people opt for the first path out of fear, the intelligent typically choose the second out of wisdom. Emotional and psychological intelligence carries an unforeseen weight. It enables you to discern patterns invisible to others, perceive the hidden motives behind people's words, and identify fear-driven behaviors that disguise themselves as love. It allows you to understand the underlying psychological needs fueling most social exchanges. Jung described this heightened awareness as psychological consciousness, the capacity to observe not only people's actions, but also the reasons behind them. Such heightened perception results in a unique type of isolation. Once you perceive the mechanisms behind human behavior, it can feel as if you're watching a staged performance while everyone else thinks they're living reality. This perspective is not rooted in cynicism, but in clarity. A clarity that, though freeing, can also be deeply isolating. Highly intelligent individuals frequently face a choice in conversations: remain authentic or gain acceptance. They can either stay at the superficial level that makes others comfortable, or express their deeper truths and risk making people uncomfortable. Most opt for the superficial, but it comes with a price. Continuously simplifying complex thoughts into easily digestible pieces becomes draining. Persistently diluting insights to preserve social harmony creates an internal division between one's true self and the version deemed socially acceptable. This awareness brings about an important understanding Much of what we label as connection is, in fact, projection. Others aren't perceiving your genuine self. They're seeing the version they need you to be. They don't love who you truly are. They love the image they've constructed of you. Recognizing this weakens the drive to sustain superficial connections. Do you find yourself craving fewer, deeper connections as you grow older or more self-aware? Comment 1. If you've if you felt your social circle shrink intentionally over time. Comment 2. If you still thrive best in wide and varied social groups. Jung recognized that intelligent minds tend to seek fewer but deeper relationships instead of numerous shallow ones. For them, quality over quantity is not merely a preference, it's a psychological requirement. Their detachment often acts as a safeguard against the exhaustion of sustaining relationships that lack true understanding or mutual exchange. Being intelligent in a society that often favors conformity over critical thought brings a unique kind of fatigue. You witness people making choices driven by emotion instead of logic, adhering to trends rather than values, and prioritizing validation over truth. This creates a level of cognitive dissonance that can be overwhelming. Jung wrote extensively about the collective unconscious, the universal psychological patterns that shape human behavior. But he also acknowledged that some people reach a level of awareness, allowing them to step outside these patterns. This leads to what psychologists term cognitive isolation, the state of thinking differently from most people around you. Highly intelligent individuals frequently process social situations, political debates, and casual conversations through several analytical perspectives at once. They can simultaneously detect psychological dynamics, logical flaws, historical parallels, and unconscious biases. This layered awareness makes it challenging to participate at the straightforward surface level that most social interactions demand. The outcome is a sense of internal exile. You may be physically present, but remain mentally removed. You take part in interactions without truly engaging. You listen, but are more often analyzing than simply experiencing the moment. This is not a voluntary stance, but the inevitable result of a mind that cannot switch off its analytical nature. This produces a distinctive type of loneliness, not from being physically alone, but from feeling mentally solitary, even in a crowd. It is the isolation of noticing links and patterns others overlook, grasping implications. Others disregard and perceiving complexity in situations most consider simple. The detachment of intelligent individuals often shields them from cognitive dissonance. By maintaining distance, they safeguard their mental clarity and sidestep the ongoing strain of functioning at a different intellectual wavelength from those around them. Intelligence sharpens the awareness of emotional economics, the understanding that emotional energy is limited and must be invested carefully. Unlike those who spread their emotional attention thin across many superficial relationships, intelligent individuals adopt a strategic approach to directing their psychological resources. Jung recognized that awareness consumes energy. The more conscious you are, the more effort it takes to sustain that state. This naturally leads to selectivity in choosing where and how to engage. Each emotional investment undergoes a mental cost-benefit evaluation. Will this relationship foster my growth or deplete my energy? Will this interaction add to my understanding or merely repeat old patterns. This approach is not emotional coldness. It is emotional intelligence applied to managing relationships. Intelligent individuals understand that their ability to form deep, meaningful bonds is restricted not by indifference, but by the intensity with which they experience and process emotions. They prefer one profound relationship to 10 shallow ones. Which do you value, more depth or variety, in your relationships? Comment 1. If one or two profound relationships feel more fulfilling to you. Comment 2. If you prefer the energy of many lighter connections. To outsiders, this selective approach can look like detachment. Many expect constant emotional availability, steady social involvement, and predictable reactions to social norms. When intelligent individuals choose not to meet these expectations by deliberate choice rather than incapacity, they are often perceived as aloof, arrogant, or antisocial. The reality is more complex. Intelligent individuals have cultivated the ability to differentiate between emotional reactions and emotional responses. They can observe their emotions without becoming ruled by them, engaging only when it serves a purpose, and withdrawing when it does not. This emotional independence may appear as detachment, but is in fact a refined form of psychological mastery. Their detachment fulfills several roles conserving energy for meaningful pursuits, preserving the mental clarity essential for deep thought, and shielding themselves from the emotional upheaval caused by becoming overly entangled in others' psychological struggles. One of the most misinterpreted elements of intelligent detachment is how it relates to solitude. Whereas most people dread being alone and rely on continuous social activity to avoid self-confrontation, intelligent individuals have uncovered what Jung described as the treasure in the depths, the profound richness found in true solitude. For an intelligent mind, solitude is not a void, but a form of presence. It is less about physical aloneness and more about being fully with oneself, something that is impossible when continually navigating social interactions. In solitude, the mind functions at its own natural pace without having to adjust, interpret, or adapt to others' mental styles. This is the environment in which profound insights surface. Innovative solutions take shape, and philosophical comprehension grows deeper. The detachment of intelligent individuals allows for what Jung called active imagination, the mind's capacity to explore ideas, possibilities, and realizations that arise only in the quiet spaces between social engagements. The paradox is striking. By withdrawing from others, intelligent individuals often form a deeper connection with themselves, their true thoughts, emotions, desires, and values. This inner bond then becomes the cornerstone of any external relationships they consciously decide to sustain. While most individuals build relationships to avoid facing themselves, intelligent people frequently step back from relationships to discover who they truly are. This core difference in approach naturally creates obstacles to mutual understanding between the highly intelligent and the average person. What may seem like rejection or aloofness is often just a distinct philosophy of connection, one that values depth over breadth, quality over quantity, and authenticity over appeasement. The solitude advantage clarifies why many highly intelligent people are at ease spending long stretches alone, able to go days or weeks without interaction, and feel no sense of deprivation, often emerging from such periods with greater clarity, enhanced creativity, and deeper psychological integration. Jung observed this pattern in both his personal life and professional work. His most significant discoveries arose not from social engagement, but from extended intervals of self-reflection, analysis, and what he termed a confrontation with the unconscious. The separation required for such intense self-exploration is not an escape from life, but a fuller engagement with it. For intelligent individuals, detachment is neither a flaw to fix nor a barrier to dismantle. It is a natural response to the distinct challenges of existing with heightened awareness in a world that often functions at less evolved psychological levels. Recognizing this pattern, whether in yourself or in others, can lead to more genuine and fulfilling relationships. For those who live this way, the real challenge is not becoming more sociable, but respecting their own natural rhythms while staying receptive to connections that truly enrich rather than deplete their mental and emotional reserves. For anyone seeking to understand someone who demonstrates this pattern, the essential point is that their detachment is not a personal slight, but a psychological structure vital for their mental health. Jung's insight endures individuation. The path towards psychological completeness often demands withdrawing from collective norms and expectations. For the intelligent mind, detachment is not isolation, but integration, the essential space needed to become fully oneself before forming genuine connections with others. Does this idea of detachment as integration resonate with you? Comment 1. If you see solitude as a path to becoming more yourself. Comment 2. If you feel connection with others is the primary way you discover who you are.